Hey guys, I wanted to make a video. Um, Sorry for the adjusting. Whenever I touch this thing, it makes a noise, but yeah. Um, Wanted to make a video about basically getting away from dopamine or like shutting the dopamine off. And what I mean by that is I think it's really important sometimes to kind of slow down and take a rest or break from the constant speed and rush and like just constant dopamine that I think a lot of people experience. Um, I think a lot of people we probably experience too much dopamine. Um, like I think uh the whole idea of meditating is it's not really to sort of like focus and to try to practice something actually. I think it's more so something to just like to shut everything off and to pretty much like rest. Um Not even really to like go unconscious, but to sort of rest and um I don't know, just so with drugs, when people take drugs, there's something that is referred to as the come down. And the come down is basically like when you take the drugs, there's the period after where your your brain chemicals and hormones and everything um has a chance to sort of balance out. And the come down is basically this rebound or this sort of corrective measure the brain undergoes for when you have that flood of chemicals in your brain, basically maybe of most likely positive feeling hormones and all of that neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. And so when people take drugs, usually they feel really good or stimulated or whatever it may be. And then when they stop taking them, there's that come down effect of where they may not feel so good. It actually may cause illness and sickness. It's like withdrawals. And so I haven't taken drugs now for years. Um, and I eat only meat pretty much. I do eat butter, but in very small amounts of salt. I drink water, but it's essentially that's all there is to it. Um, and so I kind of practice an extreme form of abstinence. And with that is I don't um consume drugs to give me that high, you know, um that excitement or stimulation that I used to take psychedelics primarily. I never really ventured out into like doing stimulants or opiates or anything like that. Psychedelics in themselves can be very stimulating, but um, psychedelics are often not really considered a recreational drugs, recreational as although they can be. And so since I stopped doing these things, you know, I I definitely recognize that there's like that high with psychedelics where there's the flood of chemicals in your brain. And like you feel boosted. You feel like your vibration is higher. At least I did a lot of the times. And so there's that wanting to always keep myself in that boosted state. You know, people talk about microdosing and uh a lot of health influencers and stuff, they'll talk about supplement stacks where they're stacking all kinds of nootropic substances, like these substances that are supposed to enhance cognitive performance and just blah blah blah. I mean, a big part of that is just making sure you're getting adequate nutrition and vitamins and minerals. But beyond that, people would supplement with like lion's mane and maybe do like ashwagandha or whatever, and you get into all these herbal things and extracted plant extractions from plants and synthesize blah blah blah. And so, you know, with that stuff, like I definitely believe in the nutrition side of things because that's what my diet does, is the carnivore diet. I just, and that's all I do. I don't do supplements on top of it. And um I don't even do the electrolyte stuff. And but beyond that, I don't do microdosing, I don't smoke weed, I don't do ashwagandha, I don't do the lion's mane, I don't do uh, the kratom, all this stuff. You know, I don't have a supplement stack. I used to actually really be into that sort of stuff and kind of getting into that, wanting to maximize on health and like um brain for brain performance or whatever, just like trying to figure out all these ways I can maximize on health and wellness or whatever and blah blah blah. And that's kind of what led me to the carnivore diet because I would end up cheating when I would do like a ketogenic diet or any other diet, and the cheating would be like a binge. And people talk about cheating like, oh, it's a cheat day, you allow yourself a certain thing. But a cheat day, all it is a binge. It's just a binge, and people, that's all a cheat day is. And it's been relabeled in a way that makes it not seem so bad, but it does damage to people's health, and there's a culture around cheating, especially in, you see a lot of these people who are into health or like fitness, especially um bodybuilders and so on. You know, you have the Trent twins, you have Sam Solik, you have um there's a whole list of them, and I actually like a lot of those people, but it's sad for me to see the culture around cheating, and I understand it because the diets that they do are not um like the diet that the Trend twins do, a very typical sort of bodybuilding protocol. Um, I kind of went down a rabbit hole in trying to learn about all these different diets like veganism and fruitarianism and like sugar fasting, snake diet, and bodybuilder bodybuilding diets. And so like I see the diet that the Trend twins do, um, or Sam Solik is a good example, and it's like the Trend twins, they're a little different than Sam Solik because the Trend twins, they are strict. They're strict, and then they rebound pretty strongly. Like they're always uh I trying to understand it, but it's like the uh strict diet, like, they go hard where it's like chicken and rice, that type of shit. And they get such intense cravings that their mental health, that's fucking with their mental health. And I see some problems there. And I think it's obvious to anyone who watches it, but they may not recognize that themselves. And that's, uh, you ever learn something and it's like, you wish you could tell them, you wish you could reach out to them and tell them, but it's kind of unfeasible to try to try to persuade someone, especially over the internet or whatever. And it's like, but if I could send a message to them, if it somehow got to them, I would say that they should go on a carnivore diet. They should probably with they should stop with the steroids and the drugs. Go on a carnivore diet. Um, Stop cheating. If they do a carnivore diet correctly, they have to stop cheating entirely. Because when you cheat, it's going to you're playing with fire and cravings basically. And if you don't cheat, you're not going to have cravings as long as you're eating enough meat and enough protein and fat. You'll be all right. Um, you can't cheat. You can't have any plans. Nothing artificial. Got to keep it strict. You don't even fucking need salt. I did it without salt, and it is brutal. Um, their health is so wrecked that if they were to just jump to a carnivore diet, it's gonna be like rehab for them. It's gonna be like rehab for most people, because people are so full of toxins. Like want to get into veganisms, basically. You're, a lot of people are full of toxins from eating processed foods. So when they switch to a carnivore diet, it's like rehab. It's like getting off of like hard drugs. Um, but if they could do that, it would help them tremendously. And they'd have to treat it like rehab, literally. Like they would have to um get on a carnivore diet and just stick to it. And probably have to make sure they're drinking a good amount of water and uh eating enough meat and no cheating and just keep doing that. And just make sure they eat enough, they don't starve themselves, and they should be good on cravings. No plants, no seasonings. Keep it very strict. That's that's generally the advice I'd like to give to a lot of people too. Um, Sam Solik, he's interesting to me because it seems like he's he keeps his metabolism so high through exercising, cardio exercise, weight training, and steroids, and that and his tracking of his macros and everything. He's basically running like a macros diet, if it fits your macros kind of diet, where it's like you can eat whatever you want as long as it fits your macros. And he's got a certain guideline for his macros. So he's often like cheating. He's like cheating, but he's doing it in a way to try to make it align with his macros. It's like instead of having a single cheat day, I don't think he really does cheat days, but he has like he's like spread the cheat out throughout his daily protocol. he's kind of spread the cheat thin, and so he'll drink like chocolate milk that's high in protein, low in fat. Um, and I don't know. He seems to. I think it really has to do with the steroids that keeps his metabolism so high to where um he can keep the weight off. That's the way that I think about it. And not to say that, it doesn't take any requirement like effort on his end. He's definitely trying really hard. Um I think the steroids help him to not get fat as hell basically. Um I think a lot that might be a pessimistic view, but yeah. He's got a full fucking strategy to not be fat, and it's by having tons of muscle mass and being on steroids and doing his cardio and watching his macros and counting his calories. And he seems to be just fine tuned enough with that to where he doesn't get fat. And he can stay lean or get shredded. But it's not healthy still. Uh you know, that whole weight issue, he has it figured out, but it's the components and it's brutal because it's like, um, I think he would struggle to do it with a healthy approach. I think the way he does it likely helps him with his maintenance of it, but I think again, I think just a carnivore diet and getting off steroids is definitely just a conscionable decision to make. Um, to get off the pre-workout and the caffeine and everything. And that's like rehab too. He's in a very dangerous situation. Um, yeah, a lot of those bodybuilder guys, it's wild because it's definitely recognized as like not healthy. Uh, a lot of them die young in their 30s and like 40 years old or whatever and 33. uh and it's like I know what they're trying to escape from, and I don't blame them for trying to escape from them. Like no one wants to be fat, no one wants to be a piece of shit, and I respect their discipline and the intensity of their workouts and all the effort they put in and everything, and then how the effort they put into their diet and um I should be honest, I've been on the carnivore diet for a long time now, like several years. Like I first started the carnivore diet like back in at the end of like 2019, and it's 2026. And there's periods where I went off of it, but have stuck to it since like a few years now. I don't really keep track, probably over 3 years. Um and I don't even have the body composition that I want. I think I've got more body fat than I would like. Um, I'm not at the body fat percentage that I would like to be at. I think I've done things like extreme fasting protocols and fat calorie restriction, fucking with my diet, binging, this process that really fucked with my health. I would work out extremely hard. I would go for sprints to like I would think about shit like I would have to save people from a burning house or some shit like that, and uh like running as fast as I can. And you know that's the thing is it's like getting in that mindset of like you think of these scenarios where you have to test yourself. And I would try so hard. Um and I would basically exercise. I would run. It's like I wasn't even a good runner. I was even fast. I didn't even have like there's a lot of things. Like I wouldn't even go as far as I wanted. Never ran like 100 miles, but uh I wasn't that fast, blah blah blah. But the effort I would put in was just like extreme. Like if that was one thing was like um I definitely tried to make sure that effort wasn't a thing that I fucked up on. I I put in yeah. And the thing is if you're putting in max effort but you're eating like cookies and shit, a lot of people already know this. But if you're binge eating and you try to work it off by doing like sprints, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. They say you can't out exercise a bad diet, and I tend to believe that. Uh, my mentality though was that it doesn't hurt, and I don't know. I don't know. I think I definitely crossed the threshold at times to where I did cause harm to myself. Um, that's a lot of people do that with exercise, but I kind of had to relearn how to do a lot of exercise related stuff. Um, I did end up going to a psych ward on 3 different occasions after using psychedelics for years, and after using psychedelics for years, and then going to the antipsychotics for a few years, and then now nothing. It's like, man, I and dealing with like binge eating. Um, my body doesn't work the same as it did before. It's difficult for me to talk about, but and I don't want to like make myself out to be like helpless or like a victim or anything. I try to do what I can. I try to still try to be useful still. I try to I haven't had a job in years, and it it's because all of this shit has like really uh affected my health a lot. and it's something I don't even talk to anyone about. Like I barely talk to people about it. Um People think I might not work because of um because of going to the psych wards on three different occasions, but like the psych ward stays. But it's actually not even that. It's I think it's largely health. It's because my body doesn't work the same. Like before I could just force myself out of bed, and now I can't force my I haven't been able to force myself out of bed. It's like I've had to that was like a huge thing too that I would do all the time is like I just forced myself to do so much, and that was a primary thing, was just discipline and force, um and so uh it kind of got to a point where I feel like I couldn't force myself to do some of the shit that I used to do. And it was a thing, like it was my body protesting. Uh and I think I fucked myself up so bad that that's my body kind of had to take charge a bit. And so now something like even um going to work at a place where I can be up at like to work a certain time frame, like 9 to 5 or something, whatever it may be, 10 to 6, whatever the schedule may be. It's like I don't do it because one of the biggest reasons is because I literally pretty much go into a mode of like unconsciousness. Like it's like a kryptonite with Superman, where whenever the kryptonite gets around him, he just kind of pretty much like gets weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, and to the point where he's like on the ground. And um and it's kind of like, bringing the kryptonite all the way to like his chest or something, to where he's like pretty much like can't really even move. And and I think this the reason why I go through this is probably because of in Vegas Astena, a drug that I it is an intramuscular injection that uh I received a court order from uh to take on a few different occasions. And I should have just flat out refused every single time and just been non-compliant and said fuck it, because I don't think I should have ever went on it. But it's like when you end up in those situations trying to argue that you're not crazy and shit, it's like uh I don't know. And then I dealt with like side effects from those drugs, where like I experienced like intense sort of shaking, like in like my whole body would jerk. And then that was a third time I ended up going to the psych ward, was because of that shaking, that jerking. Is kind of like Tourette's or something. And Um, I think that was like confused as psychosis or something. Um, and so then they just fucking threw me on the same drugs or whatever. But I think it was this combination of these psychiatric drugs, antipsychotics, schizophrenia medication, that this combination of these schizophrenia medication plus the binge eating in the past. And when I would binge eat, I would do intense exercise, like sprints and all of that. Uh, and this trifecta was like a thing that really, um, I think did great harm to my body. I basically used to binge eat in place of doing hard drugs. I would fiend, the same way that I imagine someone would fiend for hard drugs, but I would fiend for junk food. And so, um, it wasn't until I went on a carnivore diet and just like no more cheating, no more plants, no more drugs, no more over the counter medications, no recreational drugs, no weed. I just had to go so extreme with it. And since then it's been a slow recovery in some ways, but I kind of thought in the back of my mind, probably because of some vegan bullshit, a lot of vegan sort of ideas or whatever around fasting, where if you just fast enough that you're gonna detox and it's like the fountain of youth and blah blah blah. And I thought I could, I don't know, you kind of develop um maybe a narcissism or pride or hubris. um I definitely got called that. I pretty much don't agree with when people call me that, but I can sort of self admit where in my own definitions of what narcissism is like, I think there was some level of like overextension in over confidence, a sort of facetious confidence. um I was definitely under the impression of like fake it till you make it too. So there's a lot of that where um I you know so and then so there's that, and then the harm done to my body from that trifecta that I talked about. Um Let me just change the music here. Um and so long story short, it's like I there's like a humbling, I feel like I got humbled in some ways. uh I feel like I kind of went, I don't like to call it crazy or insane, because I think the thing is I don't want to give credit to people who are, I believe, were toxic to me in my life. And a lot of the people who were toxic to me would say, I think they believe that I was like insane and like narcissistic and all this shit. But um the thing is like, I think what happens to some extent with like gaslighting, see, it's a very interesting thing because I want to take ownership. I want to take ownership and I want to find my fault in things. So when I talk about something like gaslighting, it's like, I don't I think if I blame people, I don't want them to have that power over me still. So like when I say gaslighting and people would say this shit, I feel like there's something that happened where I started to like fucking question myself. Um I w- I went so fucking extreme in my past with like exercise and just talking trash shit to people and trying to be radically honest and just say shit for how I see it and like how it is and just calling shit out and uh calling people fatties and all this stuff. And I went hard into fasting. I would just go like try hard and to not eat, and I was doing the carnivore diet back then and was doing psychedelics and doing psychedelics too. Like I really fucking believed in myself, you know what I mean? And so then you have these voices of people that would say shit to you. Like there I was trying to chase dreams that were fucking impossible, right? And it's like I see these fucking losers that are like getting in my ear and like telling me all this loser shit, that like um it felt like they were telling me to not pursue my dreams. And that shit like pissed me off. Like I don't know. I I got so fucking upset over that shit, man. Like I was studying the Gulag Archipelago too. And that book has been really good for me honestly in my life. But there's other books like Man's Search for Meaning that I read too, and it's like the way that both of those books describe the tyrants, the tyrannizers, like I began to recognize people in my life as these same tyrannizers that were talked about in these books. And it's like when you see people that are like this, like I knew someone that was saying shit to me that was like, and it just like it did. I can't even fucking explain it, dude. It was like if you could. The thing is I feel like most people don't understand. Um, because I want to say like if you literally saw a Nazi today, like what would you do? Like imagine if they're just eating dinner or something and like you saw a fucking Nazi. What would you do? And the fucking thing is like a lot of people don't even know what that means, and also like um a lot of people don't fucking know what that means. So, and people have these stupid fucking answers like that they just come up with on a whim of like, oh, they would just shoot them or something, or like, and the thing is like there's I know that people, I feel like I know that people don't really know what that means, because when I do see shit that's like Nazi shit, people saying Hitler was right, and they're not even joking. Like people saying, Austrian painter, and I don't know. You see people just genuinely, um, wanting to bring it back, wanting something, and um those people that say punch a Nazi and all that shit, they're nowhere to be found, man. Whenever I see actual Nazi shit, there's no punch a Nazi people that are ever present whenever I see shit like that. None of them are saying shit. Um, when people are talking about Jews, you know, and I don't see any of these punch a Nazi people ever. One even today, like they're nowhere to be found when people are talking about Jews. When people are saying like some crime happens or something, there's a news story on it, and you just see all the people, all the top comments are just like, even people are saying shit like, it's about time, or like needs to happen to a lot more of them, and should happen to the rest of them, and things along that line. And I don't see any of these fucking like liberal secular geniuses any fucking where, man. And when people are saying Hitler was right or whatever, you don't see anyone saying no, he wasn't. You don't see anyone saying back to those people, no, he wasn't. You know, you don't see any argument. It'll be like rare, extremely rare. I see anything and it gets buried. And but no, you have all these people who are quick to claim virtue, and like they would have whatever. I don't believe any of it, actually. I don't believe any of these people would actually do anything. I think what would really happen is that these people would be the biggest cowards, and they would probably actually do the opposite of what they think they would do. They would probably rat on other people. They would probably be the type of person that regardless if someone is a Jew or not, they would call people Jews just to sort of sink people's ships. You know what I mean? Over petty shit. And I don't know how I went on this tangent, but um but I guess going trying to explain like what trying to figure out the cause of what fucked up my mental to the point where I ended up going to psych wards and shit is like, I think when people lie so much and there's enough lies in the world that you actually get fucking confused. Like it causes a fucking confusion. Um and thank God for the diet that I do, because that was like the only fucking thing that gave me contrast and direction in my fucking life. I had all these doctors and all this bullshit tell me, oh, I should eat a balanced diet, and I knew that if I were to do that, I would end up just addicted. I would end up a piece of shit. I would end up just like, I want to say everyone else, and that's offensive, but like I don't want to be like everyone else. And I think when you I don't want to be like the people in Nazi Germany. I don't want to be a conformist. I don't want to just, fall in line. I don't want to be a bobblehead and all this stuff. And what fucked me up, I think, is that, you know, when you hear enough, when you hear the same shit over and over and over, it kind of fucks with your head. And like people, even if they're lying to you, even if people are just lying to your face, like, and they do it enough, it's like it'll fuck with your head, and it's like you start to question reality. And for me, it made me treat lies as if they were the truth, you know? And it made me treat, and it made me disregard the truth. Um, I can't really say that it made me do that, but um, it's all about what you follow, right? And I got to a point where my ex-girlfriend, she just left me or whatever. She abandoned ship, got the fuck out. Um, and she was genuinely like, um, I don't know. I guess I wanted to be with her so bad that I wanted to figure out what, like, why she left, and I wanted to get her back. And when you're trying to get someone back, it's like you wonder how you're gonna get them back, and what are you gonna do, like what do you have to do to get them back, and what and my ex, she wanted me to like eat vegetables again because I was doing the carnivore diet at the time, and um it, I don't know, I just kind of completely fucking fell apart, and I think I did kind of get suicidal. I think like what ended up happening was I sort of had a complete inversion of my belief systems, like because I thought I tried so hard to do everything right, and then to have like a cataclysmic failure, like someone leave you, it made me just, it's like holy shit, like I thought I was like doing everything right. And um so it just sent me into a mode of like perhaps like problem solve, but in that mode I sort of I started to clutch at straws. I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but I started to grasp at like anything, and that's what I needed to not do. It's like start to take any advice that people are giving me, and take the advice of people that were just so fucking mediocre and boring, like so boring that it it just really brought me down. And even to this day, it's like I think it's been a slow recovery, and I still want to get out of it. Like um I honestly want to sort of go back to how it was before, where truth be told, like I I really don't want to like fuck with anyone. I don't want to like be fucking friends with really anyone. I want to be friends with people who are like, this is like what it's a weird thing, but it's like I actually want really the best of the best to be my friends, and I almost don't want anything else other than that. And I don't know. I uh I think when you have people in your life that are it's a weird thing. I kind of just have to suck it up. Um but I wanted to be in a place where the the people, I don't know, in a way I feel like I don't really have anyone. Um I feel like it's a really cliche thing to say, but there's people out there who are like David Goggins, Joe Rogan, Cameron Haynes, his son Truett Haynes, um, and like some of the some really good artists out there and stuff. And I felt like I just wanted people in my life that understood. And I wanted to leave behind the people in my life that don't understand. And there's a weird thing where I feel so much more free. I think when I'm around people that understand versus people who don't, if that makes sense. And I like people who are striving upwards in life. I think the nihilism and shit, I think it's a really played out cliche when people are uh self-destructive and aiming down and woe is me, victim mentality and all this stuff. Like, I want to just get as far away from mediocrity as possible. And it's something that I feel like I haven't really expressed a lot recently because I feel like um I guess I want to say it's something I feel like I've been so surrounded by something like that, and I think mediocre people can really um fuck up your head. um it's like hater comments, right? um Whenever you read comments on the internet, shit like that can um it can just totally fuck up your vibe, you know what I mean? And it's like it's like you feel like you're so, some people, their vibes are like mud and quicksand, and they're just like tar. And whenever they're around you and shit, or that you hear them say some shit, it's like they totally don't get the fucking mood. They don't get the joke. Um they don't get the vibe, and it's like everything halts. And now you're now you're giving your attention to this fucking thing, and you're like, um I don't know. It's like imagine someone who's playing like LeBron James, he's playing a basketball game, but someone comes onto the court or something, some regular fucking guy, and he wants LeBron's attention, and it's like middle of the fucking game, and it's like the last thing LeBron would do is like fucking drop everything and really give that person attention, but um the way I try to operate is like, it's like all the things I could know if only I would. So I try to just understand as much as I can, and some people it's like you they come in, and it's like you have to divert your whole fucking attention to them. And it's often because they're a fucking problem. Um or that they have a problem, and it's like, and you have to like shift your priorities to uh to somehow, I don't know if cater to them is the right word, but to take them into account, because some people, if you don't really give them attention and shit, uh I think people are kind of like they want attention or else, and so there's I don't know. I think some people can just be really toxic, honestly. And it's often people that are just, I think, judgmental, quick to judge, um and I don't know, just like quick to make a, a decision, and like um people that when they don't get what they want, that they act out, and a lot of people are like that. And so the issue is like trying to focus on these problems essentially. And so for me, that's almost what it seems like, is like if you're in that LeBron situation and then getting your foot stuck in a problem that uh now you can't really even participate in the game. It's weird, but I don't know. Um I think that's sort of what I came across, that you get so stumped on something that it can just fuck up your mental health, and I think that's kind of what happened, is like I um I I sort of got stumped on certain people in my life and things that people had said, a lot of toxic negative shit that um got into my head somehow, and I don't know. I really feel like my life was so much better in some ways before. Um but it's kind of like I feel like there's something with the hero story where like it's like the Garden of Eden, right? But but a problem comes along, and there's a descent, right? There's the descent into chaos, right? And I think that's kind of what happened. Is like was in a place that was so I just fucking loved it so hard. And then the fucking like record stops, right? And then you have to go on, drop everything, and start dealing with this problem. And that's kind of what I had to start doing. Is like, and, and I thought that's what I was doing too. But like, yeah, it's like I had to really start dealing with some crazy shit. Um, and it sort of took me out of that Garden of Eden. And so it's been the descent into chaos, I think, ever since. And I don't want to really bitch about it, honestly. I think I feel really grateful for it. Um, it's just kind of interesting how much your life can change and how humbled you can, how much life can humble you. Um, like if you think you're the greatest person in the world, um, I actually got to a point where I put in so much fucking effort into my life that um I started to think like maybe, I started to think like maybe I could be the greatest, like in ultra running or something, like something. And I started talking myself up so insanely that I started to believe that shit. And now it's like it's weird. It's weird because I feel like when you get humbled so much after something like that, it's like you get all these debuffs, you get all these nerfs. It's like life has to nerf the fuck out of you, bro. And that's what happened. I feel like in some ways I think life kind of had to nerf me. I think life humbled me. I got taken out of the world that I used to be in, and I got descended, dropped into a new a new paradigm, and it's like work your way out of this one now, bitch. Like, it's like, and it's fucking crazy. It's like Superman with a kryptonite, and um it's something I have to go through on a fucking like daily basis. um yeah, and it's fucked up because it's like uh I don't know. It's like my self-image is bipolar at times, where I see myself as like, I don't know. I've seen myself in a sort of mystical way before, and to where at other times it's like a uh you can the way in which you see yourself can vary greatly. and I've gone through quite a bit of that, where I gained weight. I've lost weight, I've gained weight, and through that it's like um your self-image gets fucked up because you go from actually being kind of attractive to really not being attractive, and it's like it's fucked up. Like and I worked really hard to get to a point where I felt like I actually looked kind of decent to then get fucking humbled crazily to looking like shit and to kind of coming back to somewhere that's like mid. I don't know. I don't really want to like judge myself too much, but I life can be very humbling. We should um in some ways anything can happen, like I there's all kinds of challenges that life can put in front of you. Life can make you fat, it can make you skinny, it can make you like, too skinny, it can make you fucking have problems with food, drugs, your self-image, your confidence. Um, if anyone's feeling unconfident, even if you're old as fuck, I think you can try to still try to work towards a goal. Like fuck it, even if it's beyond your life, your lifetime, like a spiritual image or something, And I think it's important to find goals like that, like to search for your North Star, so to speak, to search for a North Star and to to pursue those. Um, and if you fall back down, it's like you gotta just fuck it. You just gotta like keep climbing, fuck it, keep going. Life is very humbling. It's like there's intense entropy. You might fucking like, there's times where it's like, fuck, I might die. I don't know. This might be it. This fucking might be it. I've fucking laid on the bathroom floor and not knowing if I was gonna just shit all over the fucking floor and like or like die or something or like I don't know and puking in the bathtub and just like all these different things, and brutal shit and it's like it's funny because it's like even if I try to go hang out with people, that shit follows me and you might think you might be able to muster it up and be like, yeah, you do something, but then it comes uh knocking on your door and you're like, wow, I might have to lay on the floor in the fucking bathroom for an hour, I don't know. But but till people start getting worried about you and shit. But I don't know. That I guess, the thing that I was referring to the story, I didn't end up being staying in there too long. I just ended up like get getting back up and shit and wasn't didn't stay in there too long, but like damn. Uh yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man. I think it's important to just keep trying. Fuck it. Even if you don't make it there in this life, like just keep going. Fuck everyone. Just keep going. What alternative do you have? Be a fucking drug addict and like or some shit or be a fucking prostitute or whatever like bruh, just follow your dreams, follow your goals. try to do something good. Try to be a good person. Try to become a good person. I think that's the best way to cope in life, honestly. I think the worst way to cope is to uh is to just spiral out, honestly, and nihilism and shit. You're gonna have a really bad time coping with life. But I think if you try to be a good person, you're gonna just have a easier time at coping with shit. It's not gonna make it easy. It's gonna be brutal as fuck. But you're gonna need everything. You're gonna need everything on your fucking side, bro. And you gotta have. You can't take your luck for granted. You can't take anything for granted. You need all the fucking little charms and shit. You need all the fucking like. You need all the good karma on your fucking side, bro. You need good karma. If you don't have good karma, it's gonna fucking suck. It's just gonna be harder. It might like some shit will do you in if you're not like totally fucking like it's so fucking surprising to me though that so many people um who I would consider just like liars and cheats and all this shit and deviant motherfuckers like it's really surprising to me that they don't get completely wiped the fuck out and like through addiction and just spiraling out like crazy. And I think it's something to do with cheating that and like I don't know, maybe good graces, but um I don't know, some people I think they cheat death, honestly. So I think some people here on this earth are they're buying their time. They're doing shit to earn them time here. Probably through debt, you know, shit like that. Uh if you're not doing that, then you're gonna people try to buy time with favors and all this shit, but if you're not like that, if you're not asking fucking favors and um doing shit on hard mode, the default difficulty, you're getting maximum experience by doing difficult shit, you know. Yeah, it'll just serve you better. Um, I know not that many people watch these videos. I don't really know. I don't know, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if people are actually repelled by some of this shit. I get this feeling that some people are actually, it's about like what are you catering and like what are you appeasing and what are you appealing to? What are you in service to? Um, what are you gratifying? And I think if you're not gratifying certain shit and you're also not like catering to certain shit, you're not like totally selling out. I think it can make shit um I think the appeal is different Like I've never really gotten a lot of people that fuck with me on social media or anything. I think a lot of people have kind of shoved me off when it comes to like shit because um it's nothing to do with it like if I'm worse or better than them. I think it's more so to do with like it's just not the life that they're trying to live, I suppose. Like it's not affirming to them in their life. A lot of the shit I say, I think I can challenge people. I think I can challenge egos. I think I can make people really question themselves and like um if you really held up a mirror, I think a lot of people would avoid that mirror. And so yeah, I don't know. All right. I think I'll call it for this video. I really want to fucking keep going, but I gotta use. I'll just go use the bathroom. I'll take a break. I'll be back. Okay. I guess I have a question of like, you know, what is it that appeals to people? Is it the truth or is it lies? Um, and I wonder that like what is it that appeals to people? And I guess like what is it that people like? Um, and it's a weird question because I think it's I think it's kind of like trying to figure out like, well, how can people like me, you know? And the thing is like I feel like I tend to like myself a lot more than people like me, if that makes sense. Um, like I feel like often with myself it's like that people sleep on me. If that, like, oh, you're sleeping on uh like this music or like this rap album. You're sleeping on this up and coming artist or whatever it may be. It's like, oh, it's slept on. And I've kind of felt that way about myself at times where um in a way I don't know, it's like I don't really fuck with people, but at the same time I still think about people and um I don't know what's really best, like um I think it's probably in some ways recognizing that people haven't really liked me. Um and I know things can change. I just the thing is like I don't really know if I want people to like me. Um I feel like I don't really care if people like me. Um and I think because of that it makes people not like me too. So it's just weird, you know. Ultimately, I feel like, I have to find my people. And the thing is like I don't want to be stuck with the people that I grew up around or whatever. And that's unfortunately how I actually think, honestly, is like I I don't know. Um, there's just a lot of things that I don't know. I just want to move beyond. I don't want to. I don't want to be fake. Um, the thing is like I've had to think about whether or not I would actually end up just single for the rest of my life or something. And I think it's a possibility, I suppose. Um, like if you could actually live your life alone, and that's something I think about. Um, there's people who may watch my videos, like even if anyone I know in real life is watching this, it's like um I don't want to have to sort of try to cater to them specifically. I want to be myself. Um I feel like I don't want to. I guess I don't want to make the videos or whatever that other people want. I want to make the videos that I want, I suppose, if that makes sense. I want to make the type of content that I want to make. I don't want to make the type of content that other people want um to see, I suppose. I don't know. There's a weird thing that I think about sometimes where it's like a void of like, maybe this won't reach anyone. I think it's possible that some videos just won't really reach anyone. That a lot of media, a lot of content that people make, a lot of stuff on YouTube, it just goes to the waste bin. It goes to it goes into becoming dead media, where people don't interact with it. Um, like an abandoned sort of thing where, you know, there's no community. It's kind of like if you've ever played a game like a game that's dead, where there's just nothing. There's no real community. Um there's no real player base, and maybe that's what will end up of like this video, of the stuff I make. And um it's just kind of strange to think of like I don't know. But then I think of like the Joe Rogan experience where his earlier videos didn't really have a lot of views, but eventually it sort of caught on and it became like a big thing. It became the biggest podcast on YouTube. And To be honest, I would like to go on Joe Rogan someday. I I I mean, I don't know if it'll happen. Um excuse me. I don't know if it'll happen. I do want to go on Joe Rogan someday. I don't know. um I don't know. I just it I came up with that goal like years ago. I've come up with a lot of goals and a lot of them I haven't met. Um but it's something I still want, honestly. Um it's I don't know. I should probably just keep working on YouTube videos. Um I don't want to be someone who just makes content for the sake of making content. I actually want to develop myself as a person. That way I can share information with people. I think that's the biggest thing with the Joe Rogan podcast that I really saw was the the sharing of information between people in a conversation and the simultaneous understanding capability. It's like a lot of understanding mixed with a lot of relaying of information. And it's that paradigm that I really love and want to maximize on. And it seems like there's honestly a lot of times where I talk to people where it feels like I don't really have room to talk. It's kind of like people who like man spread. They're like man spread, they have their legs wide open, and it's to give them, they're on a bus or plane or something and they're man spreading, and the other people they're just like they're like this, and it happens in conversations, and I feel that way a lot of times, and I kind of have to sit back a lot and like I don't know. I find myself in that position a lot especially as of like the descent into chaos sort of thing. Um and just kind of being quiet and listening and all of that. Um I notice a lot of people, it seems like they can just talk for so long, you know? And it's like it almost feels like some people talk as a way of keeping themselves ignorant and blind. Um yeah, I think some people actually preserve their ego by kind of doing that man spreading thing in conversations and not letting other people speak, because the ego preservation, it's imagine like it's show and tell. Imagine you have a show and tell and you just have one person that's just like they're never running out of shit for a show and tell, and it seems like it's like that because they have a fear of like what other people might have to their what they might share, and so they're just kind of taking up time during their show and tell, they're dragging it out, and it's because they're trying to take up the time to where they themselves are like the main event. You know what I mean? The only event. Um Yeah. You know, if you take up the full show and tell, let's say show and tell lasts for an hour, it's like they'll, if they could, they would just take up the full hour. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people are like that. And yeah, but watching the Joe Rogan experience, I feel like it was like a mutual show and tell where people are just like sharing information very quickly and openly, and like they're receiving, they're very understanding of each other, and it's just like a flow, it's flowing. I think that flow can get very congested sometimes with around certain people. um yeah. um Sorry, I want to change my music a sec. Okay. So I guess the ideal for me, I think it's like, I don't know. I don't know why I like that idea so much of like two people sharing information and understanding each other. Um the relay of information between two people. I think there's something idealistic about it. Um to where some people, it seems like it's a one-way street. And to me, I think those are often the most villainous people, where it's all all it is just a one-way street where you just listen to them, and they take no feedback. And um to where people who can take feedback and engagement from their audience, where they're receptive to their audience and engage with their audience, versus, um um just a dull, boring lecture. um like a Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, I think you gotta try try to make the most of those times that are boring. It's maybe if you could just avoid them to begin with, I don't know. um yeah. I think, I just hope that people are able to find their way. And life has a way of, I think, goading us and directing us. You go to a place, you go to a restaurant, you try it, you're like, I don't know if I really like this one. And then you go try another one, you're like, I think I might like this one a little bit more. And then the more restaurants you try, you kind of figure out what you like, you know? And then in doing so, you might actually learn to, like, what restaurants to even avoid, you know? And yeah. Um, and like what restaurants are also your favorite. So, yeah. Now I want to try to like bring that, try to see if I can connect that to like the idea of relationships. Because because I actually don't believe in the idea of like people should just go out and seek unlimited partners and try to like just go person to person. I think like I don't know, I think if you fall in love, I think that's a little different. Like I think when you fall in love, that's something to be I think it's more so like a thing to maintain or sort of like something to work on, you know? That when you fall in love with someone that's like a contract that like you're gonna try to find a way to make it work out, you know? And I don't know. Um, I think there's a lot of growth to be had in that sort of commitment. It's kind of like a relationship is kind of like starting your own restaurant, and you're sort of committed to making it the best restaurant that it could be, you know? Um, I don't really view relationships like going out to try different restaurants. I definitely don't view relationships like that. Maybe if you're trying to find someone, you know, you're I don't know. It wasn't really ever like that for me. Um, and because honestly, I think with relationships, is like there's always going to be someone who's like better or worse, you know? And I don't think people should get content either. I think ideally people would want to be like the best for each other as well. So like you wouldn't want to be like content and like stagnant with yourself. Um the thing is like you can even fall in love with someone who does do that, but um trying to still take on the challenge regardless and like to still try to work on yourself and um maybe eventually they'll get inspired or something, but um I don't know. But treating people like their restaurants, like um trying to see which one you prefer. I don't know. Um I don't know. Sometimes though I do feel that way about people where it is more like there's people I I don't know. It's about learning like how to chart your way through life, I think, and trying to figure out, you know, when you should turn left versus when you should turn right, and d discernment. So if there's a major dis- discernment in life, it's to try to understand things that you don't already know. So like to explore the unknown. So that is one thing. Like you may even find a favorite restaurant, but it's not gonna, to continue your search for something new. I think it's important to maybe, try different items on the menu. Um, for me, though, it's the restaurant analogy is interesting because I only eat meat, so like, and that's what works for me, and it's given me major discernment in life. So it's like I know to not eat plants at this point in time. Like I know not to eat them. Then and then I know I should only eat meat. So like, so it's like, how does that apply to people? You know, um, I I think that meat might be in a something like the truth. It's like the meat is there's an idea in the Bible of like separating the wheat from the chaff, and the wheat from the chaff could be a metaphor for separating what's true from what's not true, what's valuable from what's not valuable. And I think there might be a way of doing that with people, perhaps. I don't know. Well, perhaps like what's relevant, what's not relevant, what's true, what's not true, what's honest, what's not honest. And um yeah, I don't know if you've ever like gotten to a point in your life where you start to question whether a certain coordinate or like a certain action or a certain habit that you that's occurring, a certain pattern, a loop that's happening is there's something that you want to like fix about it. It's like, or if you keep running into the same pothole, you know what I mean? And what to exactly do about it. And I feel like sometimes that can be like people. It's like sometimes people in your life, they can be kind of like a pothole. It's kind of a harsh way. It's kind of a blunt way of talking about it, but um, it's and it's learning about like what to do about those potholes, whether they should be avoided or if they can be resolved somehow. And so I kind of feel that way about some situations. So like I think honesty is huge. Um, there's some people I genuinely just don't want to hang out with, and I think it's important to actually voice that rather than being fake. Um, and that can be really difficult. I think I've struggled with that in my life with authenticity and honesty because if you radically express yourself, sometimes you can receive feedback from that And um I don't know, it seems like sometimes there's like weird sort of obstacles where you feel like some people might actually have a sort of um volatile response if you tell them something directly and honestly. And there's sort of like you gotta sort of learn to navigate the eggshells of people, you know? And it's like trying to do that in a truthful manner where you only speak in a way that's true. Um, and um, I don't know. I think there's a lot of eggshells with people, and I don't know. I think that's something I'll probably just continue to think about. Um, I think it's a big issue that a lot of people deal with, though. It's like learning how to speak the truth to certain people, and um, yeah, I think there's a issue where I mean, we've all kind of probably experienced in one way or another where, it's like when you're by yourself, you might feel like you're able to like dance and like express yourself and really just be yourself, and there's like there can be so much like freedom in that to where like the moment like someone enters or you know what I mean, that it's like, oh, you stop dancing, your behavior immediately changes. And it's like, why is that? You know what I mean? Like why I think that's indicative of something. That's indicating of something. It's like you stop dancing when this person shows up. You stop, it's like why? And yeah, why you don't play your music around them. Um you don't show them things you like. I remember growing up and always feeling like no one listened to the things that I liked or whatever. Like no one wanted to hear what I wanted to show them, uh and if I ever did, it would get just ridiculed and mocked or whatever, and just um I don't know, people would just hate it, you know? And maybe that's just them, and it's weird. And it just made me I remember I just like got to a point where like I just stopped sharing with people. Like I stopped share like I wouldn't share with my dad what music I liked. I wouldn't share with many of the people. And um and I went really hard into like exploring music. And it's crazy because I learned a lot of really good music. Like there's a website, Rate Your Music, and a lot of people know about this already, but there's a lot of albums on there that are just critically acclaimed. It's like some of the greatest albums of all time. And it's like I struggle to even like share some of that with people. Like like To Pimp a Butterfly, man. It's like, God. I remember I remember Frank Ocean when he had Blonde. It's like, yeah, a lot of people loved it. And I knew people who were Frank Ocean fans, but they were just, it's like they wouldn't fucking listen to the album. And it drove me fucking insane. Because they would listen to Channel Orange like all the time. But it's like, dude, the album, I literally just made the fucking like Channel Orange cover. Like, just face palm. Like, dude, just fucking listen to it. Like, the album, it's such a fucking good album, and you're like a fan of his. Like, this is, it's gonna be a mind blowing experience to like just like sit down with some fucking headphones on, just listen to Blonde by Frank Ocean. It's gonna annihilate your ego. And I know that they've surely have listened to some of the tracks. They might have finally listened to the album, but I know they've heard some of the tracks now. And I don't know, man. And it's like if someone says they're a fan of Kendrick Lamar, but they haven't listened to Pimp a Butterfly, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with people, bruh? I don't know. And I want to tell them to like just listen to Pimp a Butterfly. Like, get, you gotta get listen to it a few times. I don't know, dude. It's like it's so frustrating to me. It's, I there's so much shit I want to show to people, but I often just don't. Like I just won't say shit, and it'll just go on that way. Like they'll just not fucking listen to it. And God, dude, it drives me nuts too when like people uh, I don't know. It's a weird thing I think with ego. It's like when you start to think that you know so much that 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 people can't teach you anything. You know what I mean? Like you become unteachable because you think you're the teacher. And it's just I don't know, man. I like it when people are can teach each other, but ideally, it's about you. It's about what you can learn. It's about, understanding. It's about what I can learn. Um, just from an individual perspective, what matters is learning. Other people that you gotta worry about yourself. Um, all the only thing that's of benefit to you is what you can understand. So, um, that's where you're gonna grow. That's where you're gonna learn and become. So, um, even if people do all this shit, like they man spread, they don't listen to you. You gotta just like keep growing. You just gotta keep at it. You gotta keep listening, and that listening can be like a superpower. Um, it's ridiculous. Like I think music is so funny. Like I think music is one of the things that people can get the most egotistical about. Maybe maybe music and maybe and then politics is maybe a little bit above music, and then like religion is like even above that shit. Um, but it's like people who think they are experts, you know, and that yeah, it's just you know, kind of heard it all before, and yeah, a thing about people and music especially I think is I think there's this sort of notion of, you know, if it's I don't know, I just always think about like who does this appeal to? I think a lot of people it's like they're trying to like the music i- in order for it to be good it has to appeal to their father, you know. Um I don't know, I just kind of thought of that, but I think that's a big part of music is like they're trying to like appeal to like their father or something like their parent. um and I definitely recognize that with myself where like it's like I didn't really find myself for a while because I was trying to do things to sort of gain the confirmation of my father or something. And I think people talk about that, but I never really understood it. Like when you're trying to act in a way to get the approval of your father, like people like lose themselves in that. And there's a long time ago I just stopped giving a fuck. Like I'm like, who the fuck is he, bro? Like how is he that different from my fucking neighbor? How is he any more or less special than my fucking neighbor? Or just like the fucking guy next, you know, take anyone, out of the population. And like all these people are the fucking same mostly. It's the whole idea of like mediocrity, and it's like why are you trying to appeal to someone who like people have like this heroic hero worship of their parent. It's kind of like a idolship or like a worship form of idolism with their parent, like it's a mythological thing where they believe their parent to be like this insane like god figure or something. And and it's a strange thing because it's like you have to think that your parent is always like the best. I remember when I was in school, like in elementary school, like I would get into these kind of quips with people where arguments where it's like, "Oh, my dad could beat your dad's ass," and it's like the ego thing is to think, "Oh, of course my dad could fight anyone," but it's like it's a pure ego, bro. It's purely ego. Your dad, unless he's like training in martial arts and is like a fucking like MMA fighter and shit like that, bruh, your dad is probably it's a coin toss. It's probably a coin toss at best, you know? And like Uh, I don't know. It's weird. It's fucking weird, bro. And people always want to just take the side of their own father. It's just like, um, it's kind of a weird, I think, tribalistic sort of. It's not tribalistic, but it's kind of like a. It feels like an ancient thing. It's sort of like maybe a primal sort of dynamic. Um, but I don't know. I realized a long time ago that my dad was like, he's really just another person, and in a way, like the people you're born with, like I don't know. I felt like they're just people. They're just normal people, and um, I don't really see them getting enlightened. I don't really see them doing something that is like really extraordinary. In a way, it's not something I really want to say, but it's like I don't really see them being like an outlier. Like um it's really rough to say, but I don't see them being something truly special. It's really brutal like thing to say, but it's quite the thing to say honestly, but like, it's like to think that by default your parent should be your role model is I think a really fucking problematic idea. I think that's more so what I want to get at. Your parents shouldn't automatically be your role models. Like your role models should be the best people in your environment. And right now the best people that you're going to find are going to be people out there on the fucking internet, uh or in stories, mythology, religion. That's where you're going to find your role models. David Goggins, Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, Cameron Haynes, Truett Haynes. Truett Haynes for someone who's younger, kind of around my age. Um, Alex Gray, the guy who made this painting, his wife Allison Gray. Those are role models. Really great musicians. Um, you know, stuff like that. Really good artists. Um, really good authors. Um, leaders. Jocko Willink. These are role models, man. Um, and it's fucked up because there's a lot of people who think that they should be the role models for other people. They shouldn't be the counter example. They should be they should not be role models. They should be examples of what not to do. And that's largely the inspiration you can find from just ordinary people in your life is you can study them still. You can study a failed organism where you see the struggle, you see the strife, you see you see the failure, honestly, and it's so brutal to talk about people in this way, but like you can see where people went wrong if you really study them. Um, and you can understand things about them and why um in like yeah, there's just things you can, you know, study in people and realize like, okay, this is whatever this is I don't think it's something that, I want to be like, it's not something that um I want to. I was honestly gonna say become, but I don't think it's really that an issue of becoming. I think it's more so like when people stay stuck as something, when people stagnate and and people end up being like a piece of shit or something, they end up being an abuser, or whatever it may be, and it's like, and you're like, man, I just want to avoid. I want to avoid being this thing, and the hope is that, if you continue to become and become a better person, that you're gonna just fly right past that stage of development or whatever it is. You're not gonna stagnate in a you're just gonna um just move right past, you know. It's gonna be like a you don't want to stay stuck in a uh in a pathological place, you know. I don't know. And you just got to keep trying to grow. You got to keep trying to learn shit. You got to find your role models. You got to stay stay hungry. You got to stay educating yourself. You got to keep reading shit. You're going to, even if you feel like, oh man, like this won't do shit for me, like all these books, uh all this self-help bullshit, like I promise you, there's something out there. There's an unknown. There's something that you don't know yet. And you have to go find something you don't know and try to know it. You might think all the self help books are bullshit, blah, blah, blah. All these gurus, all these role models, internet role models, it's all bullshit. That's what you might think. But if you can find something you don't fucking know, and if you can find something you don't fucking know, you just want to go on that rabbit hole of something. Like for me, it's kind of like when I watch Jocko Willink or Jordan Peterson, you might get to a point where you watch their lectures and shit and you're like, man, I've heard the spiel. I've heard the fucking spiel, bro. You know, like, come on. But the issue is like they might mention like a book or something, and you're like, hold up, this is a totally different person here. This is a totally different figure. This totally different character. Like Nietzsche, you know, Dostoevsky, Solzhenitsyn, Carl Jung, Eric Neumann, you know, and you and it's like a good rabbit hole will actually send you on a fuckload of other rabbit holes. And it's really frustrating to me when people say someone like Jordan Peterson or any of these fucking people that they're just like internet grifters or some bullshit. It's like no man, these are like rabbit holes that have more fucking rabbit holes in them. And yeah, and that's the thing is that you want to find those rabbit holes where I and it doesn't have to be like fucking philosophy or any shit like that. I like to study postmodernism. Um, there's different lectures. Uh, and like there's this professor Stephen Hicks. He's like a fucking. He's really fucking smart too. He talks about postmodernism. It's really fucking interesting to me. And then, but like with music, there's fucking rabbit holes and shit. With art, there's like, again, like postmodern, like talk about a fucking rabbit hole. Like with postmodernism, there's a fucking artistic movement out of fucking postmodernism. You know, different, and then you're like, oh, the fucking rabbit hole of philosophies and how philosophies have inspired art movements and it's like holy fuck, there's like it's so much, you know, and then then you go down another rabbit hole of like, okay, it's fucking rap music. Here, let me listen to some shit I never listened to before. What's the fucking best rap albums? Oh, 3 6 Mafia. Let me try this shit. Let me just try to listen to this shit. It's like fuck me, this is like actually really good shit. Then, I've actually tried to listen to a lot of the top albums on Rate Your Music, like over the 100 of the top albums, and a lot of them, I ain't gonna lie, bro. A lot of them are like really, really fucking boring to me. Um, like I have a list I made of like my favorite albums of all time, and going on the list of greatest albums of all time. A lot of the albums that are on that list are actually on my favorite albums of all time list. But going through and trying to listen to it, just force myself to listen to that list. I've hardly added any, bruh. But that's the fucking thing about like the you. That's the thing though. It's like it's never definitive. It's never actually definitive. Um, because like I discovered 3 6 Mafia pretty recently. Like I've known about them, but their old school albums and shit. Like oh my god, I did not know about that. That's a totally different thing that I didn't even know that that's what they were. You know. And then I figured that shit out, and I got to a point with music. Like the thing is people get to a point with music where they're like, all right, this is the definitive list of like the best fucking shit of all time. You know. But the thing is like if you keep an open mind, your top 100 albums or your top whatever of all time, your top whatever, you know, it honestly might fucking change. Like, there's albums I've kind of I've had to like take out the list so I could fit other ones in, and it's continuing on. I discovered this band fucking Boris. It's a fucking amazing band. I discovered this band Title Fight. That's a fucking amazing band. I discovered we already said 3 6 Mafia, you know. Um I went down the rabbit hole of Autechre's albums. That's like he's like the competitor to Aphex Twin. I tried to listen to all the Aphex Twin records. I actually like Autechre so much more than I do Aphex Twin. Um but I kind of don't want to get too much into that because it's not really about what I know that's important. It's that I want to inspire people to go off on their own fucking journey and to like go binge music on Rate Your Music. Go create a fucking reading list. Try to figure out what's the best fucking books to read. Try to figure out try to figure out what you like. It's some bullshit they tell you in school like, "Oh, you got to figure out what you like." But the thing is like I said fuck school basically cuz I started watching TED Talks. I thought TED Talks were so much more fucking interesting than school. There might be some YouTube lecture series on some shit, on some like world history or like war or like relationship psychology or like uh psychopathology. um I don't really fuck with universities. I stopped going to university. I only went for 1 year and I was like fuck this place because I during that time I was reading The Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And it's like, holy fuck, like the universities are wasting my fucking time because they're putting all these tasks on, they're loading me up with all these tasks, these fucking books to read. They're bullshit. I don't want to say they're completely bullshit, but you know, it's like compared to what I was fucking reading, it felt like a waste of time. And, you know, and that's why I fucking dropped out is because if you actually, I think if you really, find like a passion, you know, these standard institutions that are supposed to be like a cookie cutter thing, um, you you might find something that actually engages you, something that you're like that you commit yourself to, you know, that you're like, okay, it's about I think trying to figure out what actually motivates you, what trying to what properly incentivizes you. And I think you can find like um the right information can be really interesting. The right thing, like the Rape of Nanking for me was a recent one, and I think this is not going to be for everyone, but like I read that book and I heard about it on Jocko Willink's podcast, and Iris Chang, and her talking about the Rape of Nanking, which is like this massacre that happened in China by the imperialist Japan, and it's like I committed myself to read that book because I felt it was just so important that I had to read it. And there's some other things that I need to read as well. and yeah, I don't actually read at a really fast pace. I actually take my time with things so I can understand them and comprehend them. I think that's really important too. Um, but a lot of times I'll try to find albums that I haven't heard before that are on Rate Your Music. Um, I try to sometimes, honestly, like one thing too that I think is kind of a controversial take about social media is that people will tell you that, social media and like the internet will rot your brain, like Twitch streamers and all this shit. But the thing is your phone is a gateway to the fucking unknown. There's so much shit you can learn from your phone that it's no wonder it's like a fucking black hole for people. It's because there's so much to learn from these devices, from the information that is being shared over across the world, from the news to research to how people are behaving, to discourse with other people, and yeah, and honestly, a big thing that I spend a lot of time with. A lot of people would not really think this is a great thing to do, but I spend quite a bit of time actually carefully reading comments on Facebook, on social media, on threads, on Instagram, comments on other people's posts, and I try to carefully read a lot of what people are saying on things. And it's been a big challenge for me to overcome because it's like there's obviously a lot of people just don't read that shit. Uh because people, like, if I pop this bad boy if I open my phone right now and I go on social media, I know it's going to be some politics. I know people are going to be saying shit about communism. People are probably going to be saying shit about like Charlie Kirk. People are going to be saying shit about maybe Donald Trump, maybe some shit that's going on in the world. Um and to see, and I also spend time like I'll like watch Asmongold or some shit, and like I used to watch a lot of Joe Rogan, and it's crazy to me how I think ignorant a lot of people are, because like you have something like the rape gang inquiry, like 250,000 rapes in the UK, and a lot of them were gang rapes, and a lot of them were with women who were underage. And a lot of people don't even know about this shit. And then like when you bring it up, they basically say, A, well, the UK deserved it because it was because they're like a colonial state or some shit like that, some fucking narrative. Or B, uh it didn't even happen. It's it's just, dude, I think people are really dumb. And it's just like I can't believe that people, like, it's like They're literally just like they don't even think, and they just let other people do the thinking for them, and they have these gut reactions. They know what to say to shit because a lot of the shit they say has already been said before by someone else. And it's like you have these highly ideological responses from people, and it's like they're operating off cue cards, and when they can't operate off cue cards, I think that's when people start to get violent, and um when they start to run out of road for ideology and arguments to make, they just try to argue, I think, with violence, I suppose, um, through dominance, intimidation, coercion, making accusations, um, and it's it's a form of intellectualism, I think, of a lot of people, where it's, I don't know if intellectually dishonest is the right way of saying it, but um, it's so, I don't know, man. I don't know. That I think that's why I think that's why I spend so much time looking at this shit, is because it's like I there's something going on here, and I don't really have the perfect solution to it. And I just got to keep fucking looking, and I got to keep trying to understand what people are thinking. And it's weird to try to understand. I feel like a lot of times it's like trying to understand someone who doesn't understand. You know, it's a weird, it's a weird fucking thing. Um, it's yeah. So all right, I'll just leave it at this. It's a 2.5 hour long video. I'll probably just make longer and longer videos. Like fuck it, just try to make like 3 hour fucking podcasts like Joe Rogan or some shit. Maybe go longer. I think I should make these more instead. I do streams on Twitch. That's kind of how I feel. I stream on Twitch. I don't say shit. I just play some fucking video games. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a dead zone. Because there's no real point in me talking if no one's there to listen. Especially if it's not like I'm recording it or uploading it as like a VOD. You know? There's no real point. Maybe if I live streamed a live d- dis a live rant like this, and then um do like a live rant, save the VOD, upload the VOD, and boom. Just maybe I should move to doing that instead, having a live discussion. All right. I think I'll try that tomorrow, or coming up for my next thing. Unless I really want to play a game or something. Um but I think games, that's another thing. The games, I actually don't even want to play games in general, but I don't want to play games. Like, I don't know. All right. I think I'll end it at that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If anyone's fucking watching, this might be a time capsule. I keep saying that in my videos, but honestly, making these, it kind of helps me feel better But all right, I feel hype. All right, thank you guys so fucking much for watching. Um, I hope to get you guys more involved in these discussions. I want to start doing them live. Get a live chat. All right. All right. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know no one's probably even watching this, but thank you. Oh my god. All right. Peace.